And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you. Aquaba. Welcome. Welcome to another round of the Conscious Roster Report here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, here on livinginblack.com. My name is Kedia Wadu, aka the Conscious Roster. Weekday mornings, you and I get together live. We come at you from 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's 12 noon Eastern time, 5 p.m. GMT, and 8 p.m. East Africa time. We get together with you and we deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspectives. We deal with entertainment, economics, education, health, labor, law, politics, religion, family, conflict, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and development. Today's date is Thursday, September 11, 2025 in the Gregorian Western calendar. This corresponds to the year 6266 in the Kemetic calendar, to which we have realigned our cultural clock. Welcome to the 7th millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place. In a peaceful place. You have found your family in a peaceful place here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, on livinginblack.com. I had a myriad or a range of different topics that I could have talked about today. We could go back 24 years, September 11, and this is the anniversary of the 9/11 events. And we could have done a whole breakdown of how, according to many people's conclusions, that was a staged event, false flag, falsely attributed to terrorists living in caves in Afghanistan, pulling off the most sophisticated urban military operation halfway across the planet. We could have talked about a number of different topics, but woke up today and the news cycle was blazing. Not with the assassination of, or the attempted assassination of 3 children in Denver school yesterday, but with the successful assassination of a fairly young conservative talk show host. His name is Charlie Kirk. Let me give you the introduction to today's program. Conservative spokesman Charlie Kirk assassinated. Today on Tech and Future Talk, we discuss the latest political assassination in, quote, the land of the free and the home of the brave, close quote. Could this be a part of a larger challenge to the U.S. notion of exceptionalism? Was it to cover up the release of the Epstein Files, or perhaps some other domestic situation? Let's examine the details of the murder and hopefully put this into a context that we can agree upon. So there are a lot of different facets to this gem. And we do need to go deep into it. So first of all, let's put into context who this man, Charlie Kirk, is. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to put up a small piece of video which gives you an idea of who Charlie Kirk was, I should say, who he was, what he was about, and we're going to come right back. Let me let this commercial play out. Bear with me, but YouTube is it is what it is. And I'm going to play just a couple of minutes of Charlie Kirk speaking to the people, and we will have a chance to figure out what he was all about And I'm going to first stop this screen. I'm going to play this screen. Bear with me. There's a lot of stuff going on. Charlie Kirk takes on an army of libs at California's UC Riverside. So all of that to say this. We're up on the screen. Let me share just a couple of minutes so you can hear his actual voice.
That's a lot of people. How we doing, California? Is California ready for a Republican governor? Are you guys ready for one? There's something happening here in California. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's very hot. Don't be a hero. Make sure you drink water, seek shade. Unfortunately, at some of these events, people faint and pass out. We do not want to see that happen. You already passed out? You want me to sign your hat? I'll sign your hat. Don't start fainting just to get a signed hat. We're going to have a lot of fun. You guys know the rules, and it's a great day to be here. We're going to start. We love you guys, too. And God bless California. God bless America. Let's get started.
Hello, hello. What's up, Charlie? Hey, dude. So first out, welcome to California, Riverside. What's up, Riverside? How's everyone doing so far, yeah? All right, cool. So I'm just going to get started. Typically, I agree on a lot of stuff that you state, so literally in everything. The only reason I came up to debate was about abortions and rape abortions. And so recently I was kind of for abortions, pro-choice. I recently had a daughter. She's 7 weeks old, and I can't imagine living without her, so I appreciate it. And my only concern as I was thinking about it, it's just hard for girls that do happen to get raped, you know, whether they're unconscious and drugged or just whatever happens, incest or whatever. Would you be able to just defend just any abortion or non-abortions on rape? And if I could just hear your point of view on that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for the good faith question, and praise God that you welcomed the daughter into this world. That's the best thing you said. Look, needless to say, rape is a tragic thing, and it's terrible. We believe that abortion is the taking of a life, which would be murder. Can I do a thought exercise with you? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I actually have a picture. I brought it here because I do this so many times. So I have 2 ultrasounds here. You know what ultrasound is?
Yeah, this isn't the dolphin, is it?
No, these are 2 human beings.
Okay.
No.
So
one of
that's enough. I think we got an idea of who Charlie Kirk was from that particular video. I have another piece of video that I've queued up. And this piece of video is taken today. It is an ex-sniper breaking down the details of Charlie Kirk's assassination. So bear with me. I'm going to add this one to stage. Bear with me. Stop screen. Remove. Bear with me. Ooh, stop screen. Add to stage. And I'm going to share the screen. It's going to share with the audio the ex-sniper breaking down Charlie Kirk's assassination. So here this is, and let's go ahead and put this up on the screen. I see my family starting to check in. I want to say greetings to you, but I want to share this piece of video here right now of Charlie Kirk is his name, has just been murdered. And here's what this ex-sniper has to say about it. Wait a minute. On the wrong video. Here we go. The ex-sniper has to say about Charlie Kirk's assassination. Bear with me. This is well worth waiting for.
You can hear it come overhead. But it's close because the impact it follows the shot so closely. If it was a really long distance, you'd see Charlie, his head would whip back, he would collapse, and then you would hear the sound a second later. But this is close.
Not counting gang violence. Great.
Immediately. It's bam. Oh, first his head jerks, which would make sense because the bullet's traveling faster than sound, so he would have no chance of hearing it. The bullet would hit him, lights would go out, and then you would hear the sound, and that's exactly what happened.
Counting gang violence. Great.
His head jerks, and then you hear the sound, and then it hits an artery. It hits this artery right here, immediately just pints and pints of blood are pouring out. Very, very, very low chance of survival. The thing that's interesting, though, is the bullet wound was, and I'm blurring it here, but the bullet wound is, if it was a bigger round, even a 308, there would be, I think, a little more swelling, a little bit more like a vacuum implosion. When a big round enters a vacuum, it goes inside and sucks a bunch of air in, and then the air explodes and expands out, and there's a lot more trauma and swelling. But this round looks like a 5.56 type of round, a smaller round, but enough to do a lot of trauma once it gets inside the body. But clearly it just severed the artery, the carotid artery.
And do note, listening audience, that the banner under which Charlie Kirk was speaking today is American Comeback. I personally think that there is a bit of irony there, that this is an American comeback. Now, don't dismiss that. I'm going to come back to that topic, American comeback, in a little bit. I'll let a couple more minutes of this play.
On his left side, and the shot comes from the left. So that's another detail is I'm looking for. So the shot is coming. They're in an auditorium, and it's a concave. So the shooter had to have been shooting at an elevated position downward, and somewhere a little off to the left side, because it hits the left side, but straight. We'll see earlier that there's not many places that the shooter could have been. If we try to angle it in a similar way, all these buildings right here were filled with people. These rooftops were filled with people. All this courtyard area and auditorium was completely filled with people. So there's no way someone's just going to be in the middle of a crowd and pull out a pistol and get one accurate shot like that, luckily, because someone around them would bump them, and no professional would take that risk. And then if you're further away, you're looking, it has to be somewhere over here.
All right, I think we've seen enough of that. Let me go ahead and eliminate that video. First of all, let me say greetings to those of you in our listening audience. I see you on YouTube. Basu Nefert Ra Sashat, Ujab Abakiti, and LIB Universal. Stray Godzilla is in the house, smoking on a Charlie Kirk pack. He is a shill example to keep the other shills in place. That's very, very interesting that you would say that. I'm just going to let your comments stand as everyone puts it today. I'm going to kind of limit my talk, my quotations. I do see For Africa One joining us on our Rumble page, joining us from the UK. And we welcome all of you today to today's conversation. We're going to be breaking this assassination down, but better yet, I want to put this assassination into context. Personally, since this happened today, there have been numerous calls for war against liberal Democrats in this country. I'm going to leave it there. You know what that means. War against liberal Democrats in this country. And this, let's see what I have lined up for today's conversation, putting it into context. So, first of all, again, headline, conservative spokesman Charlie Kirk assassinated. He was a very intelligent, very eloquent debater. And he would always come to his debates very, very well prepared. I am not a liberal. I am more conservative than liberal, but I am not an American exceptionalist. I do not wave that banner, that flag saying, you deserve to die, you deserve to die, you deserve to die, you deserve to suffer. No, I don't believe that. So let's take this on from a dispassionate point of view. I shared Charlie Kirk, a little bit of him at Riverside University. Let me put up a link so you can have access to the video there. I shared also a second video. Bear with me. This is going to take a second for me to post this on the various pages. I am going to share it on that one. I shared it on YouTube. I'm sharing it also on my Facebook page as well. The second video, one more link, bear with me. This is worth waiting for. The second where is it at? It's on my Facebook page. Come on. I'm just going to share it one time with what you see on the Facebook page. For some odd reason, the Facebook Live piece of video is not showing up right now. And it is because it was not on Facebook. So I'm going to save this one more time and see if it's up on Facebook right now. Okay? Bear with me. It's well worth waiting on. And it's not there, so I'll put it up later. Let's keep going. The next piece of video, I showed it already, and I'm going to share it with you so you can have access to it. I'm just going to copy, cut, and paste it. And that was the ex-sniper breaking down Charlie Kirk's assassination. I think his review was very valuable, had a lot of good detailed points in it. Of course, we're learning more and more as time goes by. Apparently, the police have recently come up with a suspect on the assassination, and I don't necessarily have time for that right now. I'm going to read your comments just as they came in. Jocko Bots writes, "Good riddance. May that cracker rest in PISS." That's Jocko Bots. And I'm just reading them. Shabaka is in the house. Greetings, Baba and LIB family. Condolences to the young man's family and his followers. I hope people can keep their senses focused. Thank you, Brother Shabaka, for your words reflecting the wisdom of an elder. Jocko Bots, I read it just as you read it. He obviously had nothing at all kind to say. I will say that Charlie Kirk was the father of two very young children. And that should mean something to someone. So to his family, we send our condolences, especially to his wife and young children. We have known assassins, many assassins. We've known the assassins of Malcolm X. We have known the assassins of Martin King, Medgar Evers. We have known the assassins of so many whose names do not go on recognized. So we continue. Here's what I have pulled together for today. Don't ever forget the fact that Trump is in the news in the Epstein Files. Epstein Files are distracted by news. The release of the first batch of Jeffrey Epstein Files by the House Oversight Committee on September 3rd, 2025, has been overshadowed by a series of high-profile political events and controversies, which Democrats argue are deliberate distractions from the Epstein case. These include President Donald Trump's actions, such as canceling Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection, deploying the National Guard in Washington, D.C., and threatening to deploy it now in Chicago, threatening to revoke Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship, all of which have been labeled by Democrats as attempts to divert attention from the Epstein Files. What do you think? Could this be an effort to sacrifice one of their own to distract from the Epstein Files, as well as the Hegelian dialectic. The Hegelian dialectic, that's it, called crisis creation, crisis reaction, and solution. A predetermined solution. Could be. And Trump's own statements today might just say that might be the case. The Hegelian dialectic. 2, Trump's National Guard deployment and security actions. The deployment of federal agents and the National Guard into Washington, D.C. has been framed by Democrats, including Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Patty Murray, as a move to create a police state and a distraction from Trump's connection to Epstein. Point 3, about the Epstein Files, Trump's public statements and accusations. Trump's public accusations against political figures like Senator Adam Schiff and his comments about Barack Obama being involved in a coup have been cited by Democrats as further examples of his efforts to deflect from the Epstein issue. White House events and public spectacle. On the same day the Epstein Files were released, President Trump hosted President Carol Nawrocki for a White House visit featuring a flyover of F-16s, which produced a loud roar that interrupted a press conference by Epstein survivors. This event, while intended as a ceremonial honor, was noted as an actual distraction during the victim's testimony. Political rhetoric and media attention. The release of the files was accompanied by a significant amount of political rhetoric, with figures like Maryland Governor Wes Moore accusing Trump of using every action to distract from the Epstein Files, highlighting the ongoing narrative that Trump's actions are designed to divert public focus. And last point, these developments as of September 1st, 2025, illustrate a pattern where major political actions and events are being interpreted by Democrats as strategic distractions from the ongoing Epstein file disclosures. So those points all support the Democratic Party trend, and I am not a Democrat. I am not a Democrat. That all of this is to distract from the Epstein file releases. A couple of comments. Jacobats, he didn't care about George Floyd or Breonna Taylor's murders. Yeah, you're right, Jacobats. They didn't care. He didn't care. And the overwhelming majority of people didn't care about it. So I'm assuming he's talking about Charlie Kirk. Didn't care. I don't know whether or not Charlie Kirk ever spoke out about those incidences, but I'm going to presume that you're speaking the truth and that Charlie Kirk never did care about Breonna Taylor or George Floyd. Point from YouTube. Stray Godzilla says he only debated kids. He was a nobody on a horse too high. And I think I agree with you that he only debated immature political attitudes, mainly coming from teenagers, college kids. He spent all of his time on college campuses, the assumption being that that was his age group, his peer group. But that might not have been necessarily a true assumption. Good point you make. We're going into our analysis. Next up, we're going to go into the idea, the fact that the White House is having flags at half-mast for Charlie Kirk and didn't do so for the Minnesota representative. He is infuriating. On June 14, 2025, Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband were killed in a shooting at their home, while State Senator John Hoffman and his wife were injured in a separate attack. The suspected shooter, Vance Luther Bolter, was charged with multiple counts of murder and stalking, and the incidents were described as acts of targeted political violence against Democratic legislators. They don't even pretend to care about the victims equally. That says it all. Yeah, you're right. Why is the national flag set at half-mast over the murder of an individual when elected officials were murdered recently and there was no flag at half-mast for them? They don't even pretend to care about victims equally. That says it all. Next, another news story which may have had precedence today had not this political assassination taken place. Yesterday, children were shot in a Colorado school shooting. This is what matters. Denver shooting, September 10, 2025. 3 students, all minors, were shot and hospitalized in critical condition following a shooting at Evergreen High School in Evergreen, Colorado on September 10, 2025. The suspected shooter, a male student believed to have used a handgun, died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Classes were canceled for the rest of the week at the school, and 8 other Jefferson County schools in the Conifer and Evergreen areas were closed on September 11 as a precaution. The shooting occurred just before 12 noon on school grounds, with the first 911 call received at 12 p.m. All 3 individuals transported from the scene sustained gunshot wounds and were taken to Common Spirit St. Anthony Hospital in Lakewood. As of Wednesday evening, 1 student remained in critical condition. Another was upgraded to stable, and the 3rd was the deceased suspect. So 3 students, 1 killed himself and 2 others were wounded. The idea of American exceptionalism, let that sink in for a second. The idea of American exceptionalism. What does that mean? What does that mean? Here's what the Britannica Encyclopedia has to say about American exceptionalism. Now, I specifically went to another source from outside the U.S. and as a source with high amount of credibility to describe this thing called American exceptionalism. American exceptionalism, Britannica.com. In fact, let me share this one with you, if you don't mind, so you can have access to it as well. Maybe one day you will have to explain to your children or to someone else what this thing called American exceptionalism is all about. And let me read what I have. Sadly, the one genuine American exceptionalism is mass shootings, violence, and assassins. American exceptionalism idea that the United States of America is a unique and even morally superior country for historical, ideological, or religious reasons. Proponents of American exceptionalism generally pair the beliefs with the claim that the United States is obligated to play a special role in global politics. Assertions of American exceptionalism are generally made on the basis of the country's founding. Proponents of the concept argue that the United States was uniquely founded on Republican ideals rather than centering on a historical community or ruling elite, though much has been written about the privileged backgrounds of the Founding Fathers, who included slaveholders. These principles for good governance are laid out in the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution, both of which occasionally are described as divinely inspired. To follow these documents in the manner prescribed by the Founding Fathers is therefore posited by many believers in American exceptionalism as the key to national success. Moreover, that approach is held to be universally acceptable, so that the spreading the way of life theoretically underpinned by those documents beyond the borders of the United States is considered a social good. Because believers in American exceptionalism have skewed Republican in the 21st century, this way of life is usually said to include a reference for the Judeo-Christian God, advocacy of a free market, and the prioritization of individual rights over the needs of the collective. There's a little bit more to this, and let me share this little bit more from this description of American exceptionalism. Although 19th century French political scientist and historian Alex de Tocqueville is widely cited as the first writer to have referred to the United States as exceptional, quote unquote, and is thus considered by many to be the origin point of American exceptionalism as a term. His use of the phrase is largely incidental to the concept as it is now understood. Rather, American exceptionalism was coined by communist activists in the United States in the 1920s and 30s. They argue, while Marxist-Leninist doctrine was generally correct in asserting that countries could not make the transition to communism without a period of violent class warfare, the United States was a unique exception because of its blurring of class boundaries. In the 1950s, American exceptionalism evolved into an explanation for why the United States supposedly was not given to class conflict in either the past or present. And let's say that that statement might have to be rewritten. According to consensus, historians such as Richard Hofstadter, and here bear with me, historians such as Richard Hofstadter, Louis Hartz, and Daniel J. Boorstin, the United States lacked a history of feudalism and absolutism that had ingrained class loyalty in Europeans. Moreover, they argued that it benefited from a geographic and social mobility, material abundance, a general acceptance of the virtues of liberal individualism, and a pluralist political tradition as described in Robert A. Dahl's influential A Preface to Democratic Theory, 1956. This definition of American exceptionalism held until about the 2010s, when members of the Republican Party, such as Newt Gingrich and Rick Santorum, began to use it to mean something more akin to patriotism, moral rectitude, and a general sense of American greatness. So that is American exceptionalism. I'm going to copy, cut, and paste that one as well, because there is more to that. And personally, I think we need to have a reference to this idea of American exceptionalism. Basu Nefer Ra Sashat writes, in respect to all, in my perspective, and have to look at Ma'at in keeping the balance in the universe. All is in divine times, and there is a reason for all happenings as it applies to the wholeness of the ... I do agree. I think that we all should be considering Ma'at first and foremost as what the world is centered around. I do completely agree. And according to my perspective, that does not include a concept of American exceptionalism. Personally, I think that Ma'at should be sacrosanct. That's the word, sacrosanct, meaning Ma'at over everything. So that is what my opinion is on this subject. Now, here we are. I'm still trying to get this Facebook stream up. I'm not even going to worry about it. I'll worry about that later. Oh, it is up now. So Facebook stream, this is called, yep, it's here. So let me just put this comment up so you can have access to it as well. We continue with this document I put together this morning. What Charlie Kirk spewed was not free speech. It was hate and it was lies. He didn't even believe in empathy. He spoke and he was killed under a banner of the American comeback. If you can recall, the center of his conversation was Make America Great Again. He was obviously an outright spokesman for the Trump MAGA platform. But on the day that he was shot, if you can recall, looking at the screen, he sat under a tent that said American comeback. How absolutely ironic that was. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to close with the commander in the commander in chief, that's what I meant to say. Donald Trump's words in the aftermath of the assassination of his friend. I believe he was friendly with him. I don't know that. And maybe I will show a second video. But this particular video is, bear with me. Come on. Yeah, here is the video I want to show right now as we go. Maybe there's one more piece of video. I don't know. I really do not want to hear any liberal backlash today. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But here is what one person, here's what the Commander-in-Chief Donald Trump had to say about it. Bear with me. Take this commercial. YouTube commercials have become absolutely awful, if you ask me. Absolutely, positively awful. And I don't necessarily like it, but I don't want to give YouTube money to turn off these absolutely awful commercials. So figure it out. I'll figure it out. So this we're going to share. This is Donald Trump speaking on the assassination of his friend Charlie Kirk. Just about 4 minutes long.
My great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God bless his memory, may God watch over his family, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed while speaking on the campus of Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah.
The only thing better than this protein coffee is the fact that Paleo Valley right now is doing
All
better.
right,
Get one,
let me
please.
just pause the commercial and let's go ahead and exit today's program. I want to thank you all for tuning in today to Halabi Radio. This obviously will continue. It will likely degrade, degenerate from here. I wrote the book. I pulled the book out yesterday. I could pull the book out again today. The book is entitled Disaster Preparedness for World Wars 5 and 6. And I did include in that the idea of a domestic war, another civil war. Some have already declared that this civil war exists. I see a few comments have come in. Basu Nefert Ras Ashat says, totally agree with you, Baba Kiti. Thank you so much, Bubba. I totally agree with you. Ma'at must rule overall. It must rule. And we cannot be inconsistent. We cannot be hypocrites. Ma'at demands truth on her scales. Stray Godzilla says, salute to you, Basuranda. Does this incident further dumb people down? I cannot see how it can smarten people up, except for that the correct pundits and analysts, hopefully myself included, will put this into a context so that people can understand what is going on. But it has a tendency to make people, to push people into rigid camps, and that the rigid camps are antagonistic toward each other, and they will only go further into their antagonism. Stray Godzilla writes, Trump and Kirk were Israeli puppets. And from my understanding, Charlie Kirk was a Christian Zionist. And I think you know what that means. From my understanding, he was a Christian Zionist. So therefore, yeah, that would put them in the camp of the illicit state. I'm not going to go deep into that dialogue today, because you know there are laws against talking about the illicit state. Did I get everyone's comment in? Let's go one more time to Rumble. And I want to make sure everybody got a chance to be heard. He said he didn't care about George Floyd's or Breonna Taylor's. He said, I meant they both had kids, children. I think you're right. Oh yes, he did speak on them. He claimed they both got what they deserved, and they both had kids. Now, I am unaware of those statements. If you could, Jacobots, please, if you could email me any statements that Charlie Kirk had made about George Floyd or Breonna Taylor, I would be very grateful for what you have to share. I don't know. I haven't done any research on this, and you could very well be right. For African rights, could this be a false flag operation? Well, we did touch upon the idea that it could be distraction away from the Epstein Files. Again, the Epstein Files have the potential to be explosive, exposing a pedophilia ring extending into the very highest echelons of government, of capitalism, the leaders of Western society. Prince Andrew was drawn into it. Donald Trump was drawn into it. President William Clinton was drawn into it. A whole bunch of actors and actresses were drawn into it. The Epstein Files could very well likely be so powerful that this could have been a false flag attempting to distract away from the Epstein Files. In Guvu writes, Sawabona, you're correct. No flags flown at half-staff for anyone else. Can you say double standard? Donald Trump says double standard. All I can say is Donald Trump, here's what he says, here's what he does, here's the reality. And it's just not good. It's not right. It's not good. It's not just. You and I do not believe in political assassination. I'm assuming you believe as I do. I do not believe in political assassination. I do not believe in assassinating someone over words and actions. If Charlie Kirk was having success on these college campuses, then the opposition should put up a voice to be equivalent, to be able to counteract that. I would not say that Charlie Kirk's assassination was the consequence of the Democratic Party leadership or any opposed opposition to Charlie Kirk or Donald Trump or whatever. I would never say that they put a person up to shoot at Charlie Kirk. Apparently, the shooter, and hopefully the FBI, latest headline I have over here, FBI releases images of, quote, person of interest, unquote, in Charlie Kirk shooting. And this person of interest looks kind of suspicious, but that looks don't mean anything. But I'm not even going to go into the story here. Wait, I can read a little bit of the story. FBI offers $100,000 reward for information. It says the reward will be for information leading to the identification and arrest of the individual responsible for the murder of Charlie Kirk. And in earlier, authorities said they had received 130 tips from the public as of this morning. Donald Trump has stated he will award Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom posthumously. And we've looked a couple of statements I see on this header from BBC News. FBI say the suspect appears to be of college age and fled into a neighborhood. We've looked for footage of the suspected gunman running across a roof. And here is a recap of what we do and don't know so far. Earlier, 2 people were questioned by police and were released. Donald Trump awarding him the Presidential Medal of Freedom posthumously. The crime scene feels frozen in time with attendees' belongings still strewn across a lawn, reports Nada Tawfiq from Utah. And I'm done with the story today. It's exhausting. It is exhausting. My great fear is that there will be a retaliatory assassination, and it will escalate very, very quickly from there. The idea of Trump wanting to send National Guard and other resources into Chicago, that could happen any day, any week now. Will he send federal troops into Utah? I doubt it. Utah is a conservative state, pretty much supporting the Trump agenda, but Utah is also, it's a beautiful place. There's no need to disrupt a beautiful place like Utah with security policies, immigration, and all of that. It's going to be terrible. But I did predict these trends in the book, Disaster Preparedness for World Wars 5 and 6. I had to. So get your copy of, quote, Disaster Preparedness for World Wars 5 and 6. Get your copy today at http://keidi.biz CRP 2012. I cannot state this again. I've been saying this again and again. We did it. We went through this yesterday. We talked about a lot of very important things yesterday. In fact, it's the third dialogue we've had this week from the book. The third dialogue from the book. But yesterday, no one ordered the book. You didn't order it from me. You didn't order it from Amazon. What's up? Is it that people just are not going to be reading? So, Kitty quit putting these things out here for us to read. We're not going to read them. I do see a comment, 2 comments on Facebook. Tyra Kremling is in the house. The state of the U.S. has never lived up to its promise. He died by his own words. He was okay with some gun violence, but he was not aware he was next in line. That from Tyra Kremling. Wow, that's powerful. Lauren Cooper, when you create the problem and you cry fire, who's the victim? It is so sad. And I gotta say, both of your comments are right on time. Whoa. So on that note, I want to thank you all for tuning in today. You've been tuned into LIV Radio, LIV TV, livingblack.com. Tomorrow's Friday, so we'll be back with Making Money Fridays, tips on what you and I can do that will put us in a better position to be able to wade through all of this muck, this mire, this mess. If nothing else, to be able to afford to get out. That's what I am planning. You've been tuned into your favorite. We aim to be your favorite. We are LIV Radio, LIV TV. We are livinginblack.com. Tell your friends to tell their friends that we have our own now. And we aim to do the best we can with what we've got. We are LIV Radio, LIV TV. We are livinginblack.com. Peace, y'all.